This is not the third video of fixing. This is not the third video of fixing Madam Web. This is more of a story so far kind of episode. I've been giving you guys a disservice on how I have been putting out the video series because of how the quality is, because of my lack of space on my phone. I have a little bit more now that I've gotten a lot of stuff off my phone, and I'm going to try to make this as kind of short as possible if I can. Basically what this is going to be is what all that it was, and put it right here, so moving forward you guys will understand what's going on in the story. So in the beginning, Madam Web has been sprinkled throughout this entire movie. Madam Web is the old lady in the Spider-Man series. She is a part of the movie. She's always been part of the movie. And the girl who's the police officer, who was originally a paramedic, is now her own character. She will be I don't think I want to tell you guys that yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that on the back burner right now. Her story goes is her mother went to Africa, or wherever they are in the spider, in where they get the spider, pretty much. The bad guy, who in the comics usually walks around in a suit and not really a costume, but for the movie purposes, it's cool to give him a costume. So he and her went there to find that spider and the Spider Society, because it's all in like runes and history books and novels and all this stuff. They're trying to look for the Spider Society. So they go there and they find the Spider Society. They find the Anansi, who is the first ever Spider-Man, and he is one of Madam Web's kind of like spider soldiers, pretty much. And he's the kind of guy who's like the guardian of the spiders and everything. You see like maybe 3 other guardians who look like they're all shredded in those, like weird red web things that they were in the movie themselves. And the main antagonist, I keep forgetting his name, he ends up betraying the Spider Society because they won't let him join, because the spider didn't choose them or something like that. And so the girl thinks that the Spider Society was just wrong or nuts because something's going on, and it chose her instead, and he didn't like that and killed her for it. That's why she doesn't go home to her daughter who is sick, but the other guy does. And he takes the spider, gets bitten by the spider, gets Spider-Man powers. He gets the basic spider webs and all that other stuff that basic Spider-Man get, except he has the venom, which is just for this movie in particular, to make him look even more raw, scary, and all that. Like, he gets spider claws on his hands and everything, and he can inject people with venom, pretty much. Then, as the story kind of goes on, we have the 3 spider chicks: Julia, Maddie, and Anya, or Anya. And Julia, her story is the same as it was in the movie, where it's about her mother is in a psych ward. Her dad has got another kid now, and he's with his new wife, and she doesn't like that very much because the dad is trying to kind of push away his old life and focus in on his new life. And Anya, being the socially awkward kid she is, doesn't really know how to shut her mouth. She kind of talks a lot, like she's got ADHD. She is our pseudo Peter Parker of this world right now. It isn't. I'm still trying to figure out the timeline. So if this is like an origin story of Peter Parker, then there will be some other things that I'll talk about later on. And then we've got Maddie, who I don't know much about her actual like origin story from the comic books, but I do know her powers to an extent. So I've been going off of the movie's adaptation of her, but I've made her personality more fun, but she still is a hard ass when it comes down to her front face. You know, the mask she wears is her front. She's actually a closet nerd. She's actually very fun. She's an energetic person who, you know, loves sports and everything, but really likes superhero stuff. And she always does the whole flaunting money around or acting like a bully kind of character because she is trying to keep up front at school. That's it. And Anya, she her story is a little bit more complicated. Her mom passed away, may she rest in peace. Her dad, since this is kind of in the movie, he got put into ICE through pretty much immigration back to wherever he's from. And Anya has been trying to stay afloat there in Brooklyn, trying to stay here because she's still not a citizen. And, or she is a citizen. You know what? She's not a citizen. She's not a citizen. And the police lady, who is also part of the main crew, she has been taking care of her because she feels sorry for her of what happened, pretty much. They bond over the fact that that her mother never came back and that her mother died and now her father is gone, so they kind of only have each other. So they're like best friends, kind of, you know, like mentor, older sister kind of thing. And she's a really smart girl, and no one really talks to her in school. And Julia thinks that her and Maddie could be, I keep saying Maddie, her and Anya could be really good friends, but Anya is a loner. She's the kind of lone wolf, do things by herself, tries to not be the center of attention, and she thinks that Julia will put her into the spotlight like that. And so throughout the beginning, Maddie's board gets broken by Julia as she was trying to skate and everything, and that kind of happens. Then they look like they're about to argue and stuff like that. Then the police lady turns her siren on, and it's like, hey, you two, you better not start fighting right now. And that's how those three kind of figured out who each other are, kinda. It's like one of their first moments. And then she's like, you owe me a new board. And then she has a lot of her dad's money, kinda. You know, throws her a little bit of money just so she could make the problem go away, so she can, you know, not get in trouble. And Anya, this entire time, thinks that this is going to be a big breakthrough at school if she goes to this this museum science lab thing, but she needs to get her parents to sign it, and she tries to let the police girl do it because she needs to be the legal guardian, but she can't because she can't be affiliated with her in that regard. It would be taking too much of a parental role. And so she ends up going there on her own, skipping school and just kind of going there. So when the actual school team goes there, maybe she just gets onto the bus, you know, maybe she was hiding in the back of the bus or something like that. And the two girls, Maddie and Julia, found out that Anya snuck on the bus, but they didn't pay it no mind. And then when they get to this place, the bad guy just so happens to be running the place. He's suit and tie kind of guy who's up in the front and talks about their situation, about talking about hey, this person ends up saying, talking about how spiders work and how they could have had magic and everything. And Anya, her dad, apparently has her dad's journal, and he, in his journal, was was talking about this spider and everything. And it was not just this man's research or the police girl's mom's research, but it's also her mother's research, that her mother and her dad were all kind of in the same spot together in a way. They weren't there when the man killed police girl's mom, but they were there researching the same thing apparently. And so she thinks that this will make her get closer to her mom that way too, and find out more of what happened to her mom and what happened to Police Girl's mom, because she likes Police Girl. This is like one of her friends, so of course she wants to do that. And so she takes she tried to take the cadaver of the spider, but ends up taking the new hybrid spider that eventually either puts out an offspring of that same hybrid spider with another spider that bites Peter Parker, or that's the exact spider that stays alive long enough to bite Peter Parker in the future, or it already did. That's still up in the air until we get to the finished parts of the story. So she takes that. Security sees her with something, and they, as security does, they try to ask her, "Can we see what's in your bag and everything?" And she runs away. And as she runs away, Julia and Maddie are there after their squabble, because Julia gave Maddie back this brand new board with a bunch of superhero stuff on it, and she thinks that's really cool. And a little bit of her geek was about to come out, but then her friends were right there, so she had to put up an act and all that stuff. So she ends up getting chased down by Julia, because Julia's trying to say I'm sorry, and she keeps talking over and over and over again, trying to explain herself, and opens up a little bit about her life. She's like, "Sorry, I talk a lot because I really don't have friends. My mom's in a psych ward. My dad doesn't talk to me. My little brother is spoiled, blah, blah, blah." And then even Maddie starts to say, "Yeah, we all have parent issues," but she hasn't really opened up yet. She just says we all have parent issues. And then gets bumped into Anya. The three of them, now all three of them have to run, because the security guards think that they're in it together. And eventually they run down these steps. They trip on these steps, and Julia gets bitten by this spider. And then we see that Maddie flicks the spider. The spider goes on to Anya. Anya gets bitten by that spider, and the two girls are seasoning. The spider just gets away, and they're like, "Wow, that's terrifying." And the security guards don't find them, but the police girl does. Police girl sees them season up and looking terrible, and realizes that the main bad guy, because the actual reason why she didn't really want to go to this place or sign her up to do this is because has the sneaky suspicion that that man knows something about her mother's death, or mother's disappearance. Sorry, she doesn't know that she's dead. She just thinks that she ran off. And so as that guy doesn't have his spider anymore, and he's telling he calls the police. He tells the security guards, and then he starts talking about his goons, which I would say kind of pop up in like little henchmen or something like that. That'll pop up later. And so police girl calls the ambulance, and either, if this is the past or the future, I'm going to say that I'm going to go down the route of this is Spider-Man's past, because Sony's trying to do this thing where all these people have been established already, and then Spider-Man just becomes the new big thing. So Ben Parker comes there as the ambulance and tries to get the girls in the gurney, and then they go off to the hospital. And that's when police girl and Maddie end up having a conversation. they open up just a tiny bit about parent things and trying to understand why she's like acting like she's so hard at school, but outside of school she's very calm, collected, and actually kind of funny because she just kind of has problems with this person and has problems with being her normal self. And around this time period, nobody likes the nerd, so it would make a really cool idea for like having you as a person uh, be a nerd and actually be cool. But right now, skateboards, and being mean to people is all the rage right now. And maybe that's how Police Girl knows Maddie, because there's been times where the police have been called where she's been doing too many extreme stunts or something like that. And so they finally get a chance to actually have a conversation. And so Police Girl talks to Ben about what was going on. Ben informs them that that the hospital has talked about Julia and Anya, and said that they called their parents and stuff, and they realized that old girl doesn't have any parents. Ben didn't know that, and ICE was called. And then as this whole altercation is happening, the girls are having their Spider-Man got bit by a spider moment in the other room, and then Police Girl explains to Maddie to wake them up, and to go in there and make sure they're doing okay, and because we're about to have to move them. And so she opens the door to go in there, and then they get spooked as Maddie jumps in, and they both go up on the ceiling and look at each other, feel the spider connection, then they collapse. And then find out that ICE is already there. It's not ICE, it's the henchman. And the entire time Police Girl's trying to stop them. Ben and the Police Girl are trying to stop these goons from getting to the girls. And during that time where they were on the spider ceiling and stuff like that, Maddie, being the nerd she is, puts two and two together and says, "You mean if I let that spider, I could have had powers?" And then they go on the run. During that time of the conversation of telling Maddie to get the girls out, she also told them to go to the old abandoned warehouse at the docks or something like that. And that's where they end up going up to part 3 of this series. So, but before I finish, that's when Julia starts to see the webs, the weird strings that just kind of go around, but she can't really see it. At first she's like, glasses, and she's trying to think, is it there, is it not there? And she's still following this trail, and the entire time she's following this trail leading Maddie and Anya to this trail, she leads them right to her dad. Her dad doesn't know what's going on with her, thinks that she's just doing teenage stuff to show out and stuff like that, and makes it about himself. And then Maddie ends up hitting him in like the shin or something like that with her board, causing them to run away. And then the goons accidentally tackle the dad, and the dad falls and collapses and makes the goons collapse. And then we see Police Girl get up and thanks Ben, and then she runs off just to ask Ben to cover for her while she goes home. And she says she'll meet up with the girls later, pretty much. And basically, here's a little bit of a bonus. Basically, she saw Anya's notebook. It's the same exact kind of booklet that her mom had. So she's going to go home to find her mom's booklet, because apparently it's come up in conversation. So it's got to be important, right? And that's where we'll leave off this story so far. Uh, Besides the evil mastermind guy, how he is he explains the origin story and everything of what happened, but doesn't say that he killed the lady or anything, to the intern chick, and is trying to hunt down these girls because he wants to get his spider back, pretty much. And he's trying to see if the spider bit them at all. And apparently, if they're in the hospital, they might as well have been bitten. So he's not gonna take that lying down. He's not dumb, and his goons pretty much told him that they failed. He's not dumb enough to kill them right away either. So he's not gonna do that. He already explained the backstory with the Anansi and everything, and how he ran away. Blah blah blah. And eventually, he will find their location. But that's the part of the story we have not said anything yet. As you can see, it's pretty much been 21 minutes of this story so far, kind of thing. So you know that my memory on my phone is good enough for at least 20 minutes. So on the next episode of Fixing Madam Web, we will be going into superhero Spider-Man training, or in this case, Spider Women. And I will be giving them different names, and all of them just being called Spider Woman. I mean, with Anya, she actually has one, and the other one is called I think it's Julia. She's actually called like Arachnia, and Anya is like that too, but hers is like Anraya, but it's her mother's name. It's like Anaya, Ayana, or something. Ayana, I think. Arana. I'll get it next time. And then for Maddie, I don't think she even has another name, so I'm gonna have to just make one up for her, because I feel like just calling them Spider Woman is just kind of derivative. You know, if they're all going to be Spider Woman, it's like, Miles Morales Spider Man, not Spider Man, which would just be Peter Parker. You know what I mean? So I hope you guys enjoyed, and ciao.